an app that can help with menopause. Yeah. So we did that show on
Mhm.
menopause several weeks ago,
Mhm.
and of course, this is a pretty important subject for not only women but also for men because we
We
love
learned a
women
lot.
and we live with women. So we're all affected by this whole thing, and I've got. A viewer here by the name of Chuck that put together an app that can be used on your phone, and he's developing it to help out with symptoms and education. And if you give me the screen sharing, I'll
Mhm.
actually show it to you.
There you go.
So this is what it looks like, but it's called MenoWise, and this is an app that is being developed here to understanding how this works. Now, I had this up and running a couple of minutes ago. Okay, so let's
Menopause
see.
101 for partners is the lead
Yeah.
item. That's nice.
So
Okay.
this is a partner support. If you look at this, here's your menu here. I think we can make that go away. There we go. Here's your the dashboard. So quick symptom entry, hot flash, mood, sleep, energy, and then you've got these trackers here for wellness, and we've got different places where you can do different exercises for wellness, and this is all being developed right now. Community resources for different symptoms that people are dealing with. And these are groups that can be formed here. So different resources and partner support. This is, like I said, all being developed right now, but based on the ideas that we put across on our show. And this is what I love is this is a man developing this because he cares about his wife and cares about what his wife is going through. So
Mm.
thought that this was something that not only could help he and his wife, but could help other people as well. And I think that's such a beautiful thing
Oh, yeah.
that we were able to identify something that actually helps people in their relationships out there and now able to use technology to advance that whole thing. What a cool thing that we
That
got to
is
be a part
cool.
of. And thank you, Chuck, for sharing that with me.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And I'm just going to tell you once again, it was a hard thing getting Merle there to do the menopause podcast, but we got him there.
Yes, I was afraid. I mean,
I
literally,
know.
I was
I
afraid
know.
of that one. I just, I like I said, I don't want women to be angry with me.
Yeah.
That's not a good place for me to be.
Well,
So,
all right, let's get going on this. I have gonna have to preface everything with I woke up really sick today. I've been
oh no,
fighting this flu Lisa's had for the last couple days. Like it's been like
oh,
almost there, and this morning is
I
all the
can
way there.
hear it now in your voice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh,
So I'm
okay.
getting
Get
brain
better. Get
fog.
well soon.
Oh,
Yes, I
thanks, Steve.
get it.
Yeah. So in the second segment, though, got some stuff here. You mentioned something in your text to me, which I forget, but I have, of course, the Washington D.C. crime, federal overreach.
Oh yeah.
What is to be made of that? I think it's all the smokescreen for the Epstein files myself, but
Huh.
hey, whatever. And then you and I discussed the Rogan interview with Paulina Luna. Now, I said I listened to the Rogan interview, but you forwarded something else to me that she was on.
I did I
I
thought it
think
was
so.
the Rogan interview.
Oh, okay, maybe it was.
Yeah.
But I thought the interview was absolutely fascinating. I think she's a super intelligent person with a lot of thoughts on a lot of different things, and she's deep. So I'd like to talk a bit about that in the second segment. Did you have something else as well?
Oh, we
I
were going
thought
to
you
talk
did.
about the Howard Stern show and
Oh,
another woke
right.
show going down. And also, I wanted to just give a preface on a great Tucker Carlson interview with Richard Werner, an economist, talking about the secrets of banking. And I was kind of blown away by this. I'm not going to go deep into it because I want you to see the show. He's got a great way of explaining this. He keeps it simple, and it's a fascinating story as well. So we'll get
Cool.
to that.
All right, cool. Well, let's start off with this discussion. It's a fun discussion. It'll segue into current events too. I have talked a little bit about my cynicism that I've been battling here in recent weeks, recent months, and it's kind of funny. I always ask chat for movie and show recommendations
Yeah.
at night and all that. And it always remembers my preferences, things I've liked, things I didn't. Well, as a result, the last two things that I watched were very similar, though you may not think so. It's only in retrospect. But Fight Club. Do you remember the movie
Oh,
Fight
I
Club?
love that movie. Yeah.
Now, I didn't remember it. Like for some reason, it was coming up in my head periodically, and everybody knows first rule of Fight Club is never talk about Fight Club. That's like
That's right.
always repeated all the time. That's
Yeah.
all I could remember about the movie.
Kind of like
So
that.
I know it was a classic, so I watched it. And then right now I'm almost done with it. It's about a 6-part miniseries. It's really good. Manhunt, Unabomber.
Oh,
It's a documentary on the Unabomber from the 90s. And it's fascinating. It's very well done. I highly recommend it. Here's where I'm going with this. Both of them, Fight Club. Remember I was talking about I'm basically looking at movies from about 1995 to 2010 or
yes.
so. And Fight Club is 1999. And
Uh-huh.
it's such an epitome of the 90s. And as I usually do, like it's a way deeper movie than I ever remember.
Hmm.
Way deeper and way darker. And I was talking about chat with it at the end. And I kind of recommend that you guys rewatch it. I say kind of because it's so dark. I mean, it's disturbing.
Now I'm feeling like I don't remember the movie very well. I
I didn't
remember it was
either.
like this alter ego kind of thing going on here, and that I just
Psychosis,
remember
really.
kind of the all these fights and everything, and that's kind of all I remember now.
That's all
So like
everybody
that
remembers.
that part was fun. I like movies where there's a lot of kick ass going on, and
Uh,
that movie was that. So that's kind of all I remember. I'm like, huh,
yeah.
there's a dark part to this, I guess.
Oh, it's very serious. It's about an epitome of the 90s, about the whole reason this guy started this fight club was his just disenchantedness with society. He was
Uh-huh.
our age at that time,
Right,
like
right.
in his later 20s or whatever, 30. And he's in corporate America. He's got a good paying job that's very unrewarding on a personal level. He clocks in, he clocks out. He's buying all the nicest IKEA furniture and stuff. He's got his preferences that, this is what makes him feel good, validated, and all that. And so the whole movie is truly about how we've sold our souls to corporate America. And in return, we are giving uh, very unsubstantial returns that are made to be, in our minds, super important.
How interesting.
And so
Yes.
Manhunt Unabomber, which I'm almost finished with, I think it's on Prime. It's about 6 episodes, I think. It's really good. It's new. Just came out. Really, really well
Wasn't this
done.
guy MK Ultra?
No, dude, that is
No,
Ted
Unabomber.
Kaczynski. Ted
There's more than
Kaczynski.
just Ted Kaczynski. I thought Unabomber was in there too.
Oh, you know what? As I recall, now that you mention it, and I haven't seen it, I'm not done with it yet, but I hadn't seen it alluded to that. Yeah, now that you mention it, I think it was said that Ted Kaczynski was part of some psychedelic experiments.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
a
think
lot
it
of
was
them are.
MK Ultra. Maybe it was MK Ultra.
The MK Ultra used LSD to brainwash their people, so
That sounds
it's
familiar,
very
though.
similar, right? It's the CIA is not the only one to do that. The FBI was involved in this kind of thing too. So who knows?
My
But go ahead.
cynicism is back. Well, okay, so it's also set between like 1995 and 1997. That's where the bulk of all this took place. And his manifesto was everything I just said about Fight Club. It was
Really?
about,
Okay.
yeah, dude, there was one line in particular that
I was wondering
as,
where you were going with that. Go
as he
ahead.
was reading this part of the manifesto,
Uh-huh.
or maybe it was a written, it was from the Unabomber. The detective paused and just went, just really took it in, and it made the audience go, "Oh wow, that was profound." And what he said was, in his writings from the Unabomber, he's like the car, technology is going to be to society just like what the automobile was. We were promised that it was going to make our lives so much easier, and we were going to get to travel places so much faster and give us so much more free time. And all it did was expand our territory of responsibilities and sped up the whole process that of things that we had to get done. And now we also were attached to the need for this extremely expensive, what should be a commodity is now a
Hmm.
necessity. Think about
Wow.
that.
Wow.
That's what the
This is
automobile was
super
to us.
well, super
And that's what
interesting
tech is
too.
to us now. It was very
Um,
true. He was right dead
oh,
on, dude.
you know, this is reminding me. We talked about this. I don't know, maybe a year or so ago about that documentary called "The Happiness Machines,"
I don't
and
remember it.
it had to do with what Bernays, the father of modern day advertising, came up with. Edward Bernays. By the way, interesting that guy is. The grandson of Sigmund Freud. And so they use all of this Freudian psychology in order to capture us, our id, our ego, our super ego, whatever. All of that is put into place. But the concept is this is that um, in order to distract the public away from what the movement is, whatever the government is doing, uh, um, to get people to believe that it's these things that cause happiness, and
Oh,
purchasing these
yeah.
things are what cause happiness. And so we've we've now moved our freedom, our whole identity of what freedom is are these things, right? Like, oh, I can have these things. Like you said, he was buying all the IKEA, the greatest
Yeah,
IKEA
yeah,
furniture and everything.
yeah.
And I think it's funny that you said it's IKEA, right? Like,
I think it
it's
was. I'm
not.
pretty sure.
There's no real value to this furniture.
Yeah.
It's disposable furniture, but he's got the nicest of that, right? And you
Hmm.
can compare it to his friends. And this is now where happiness comes from, right? But it's all fake. That's not where
Yeah.
happiness comes from. And as a result, something that Charlie Kirk was warning us about is this disenfranchisement of this younger, especially males. And then when we have no purpose in our lives, it's a dangerous situation, which
Yeah.
normally leads to violence. And
Yeah.
in these two situations, I mean, one is fictitious, but it's true. And then the other is an actual thing that happened, which is dangerous. And that's just one guy. But these guys getting together is the real scary. If one guy can do this, put a few of them together, holy cow.
Well, I guess my point to that, Merle, I think it still pertains 100% to where we're at today, 30 years later.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I'm saying this. That's why Charlie Kirk was saying it is he's concerned about the lost boy generation, the Gen Z people, the ones that are 7% unemployment right now compared to females that are 3% unemployment. And these guys are disenfranchised from life, really. And
Yeah.
this is where it says in the Bible, it's not good for man to be alone, because when we're isolated and we're not connected, these are the things that kind of happen. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a bad situation, and I think social media does such a great job of isolating us.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm not on it very much at all, but I'm online all day every day, and that's going to have its effects. I try to do good with it, but who knows what kind of effects it has on me in the background. I do
I
want
agree. We
uh,
all have to be cognizant of that,
oh
right? Like,
yeah.
how much is this? Are we being brainwashed? Am I being brainwashed? Like, how would we know, right? Like,
Yeah.
this is crazy. And when we look back on our lives, that whole, I mean, you brought it up, that corporate mentality that maybe we've been brainwashed into thinking this is the be all end all. I'm going to work for this many years and then I'm going to retire at this age and then I'm going to just drink myself into oblivion. I mean,
Yeah,
that's kind of
that's
what
it. That's the American
is that
dream.
then that's called happiness, right?
Yeah, that's
That's not
American dream
happiness.
right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So we've been, oh, and it's freedom. I'm going to dye my hair green. Freedom, right?
yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
not what freedom really. That's not the real freedom. It's the distraction.
Well, this is going down a path I wasn't intending, but it's something I think about a lot. And that is if we were to burn it all down, and whether that meant nuclear war or something, and or anarchy, however, and we were to go back 300 years, like in progress. And my point is, here, I guess here's my point. I think about this a lot. Is
Mhm.
ideally you can your freaking unicorn future. What would that look like? Because there's one thing I know, and Jordan Peterson talks about from time to time, is that if you think you're just going to fornicate and eat cake all day, it's going to lead to complete disaster. Like men will burn it down for something to do.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
I
The idle hands is the devil's workshop, right? We've
Oh,
heard that all of our
right.
lives, but it's so true. Like
It's so
we
true.
can't just, especially for men. Men retire a lot of times they die pretty quickly
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
like they think, oh, now I'm going to do nothing. Well, that's when you start to die.
Yeah.
We
Totally.
need to, and boy, I've got a great one. This 103-year-old woman that's in Italy, and she's working in like their Congress. She's sharp as a tack. She wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning. She's got a purpose in her life. That's what keeps her going. That's gives her longevity. It gives her
Yeah.
something to wake up to, and she's clear headed.
Yeah.
This is what we need. We need to. This is a woman, but I can only speak for men. Men need to be challenged, and as soon as we
Yes.
stop being challenged, it's like lifting weights. If we're not pushing against that resistance,
Uh,
then we're
Dude, we're gonna
atrophied.
start drinking, doing drugs, something destructive. We
That's
really
right.
would. You made me think about. I'll never forget when Lisa and I went to a Walmart in Sarasota a few years ago, and we were greeted and started talking to this lady that was like 95 years old that worked there. She
Uh-huh.
still worked there. She didn't need to work there. Everyone said she was the happiest woman that they ever met. And she worked at Walmart, I don't know, a good deal of part-time because she wanted something to do that felt productive.
She had a purpose.
Yeah,
And
even working at
it made her
Walmart,
happy,
dude.
right? I mean, and here she is. She's getting to. I don't know about you, Barry, but I love to get out and just talk to people and see people smile, and that makes me happy. And just when you can talk to people and make them smile, that gives back to you. It's almost like
Yeah,
food,
yeah.
and I think that's what we're talking about here.
What I was getting at is what is our ideal station in life as human beings? And I tend to think that we're at our peak like about 300 years ago when we're like hunter gatherers, farmers, and building homes with our bare hands in a community, helping each other. The community comes together and protects each other and builds us something together. And
Yes.
everyone has a purpose. I think that's humanity at its best.
I think so too. And I think that when you look at a community like that, in the center of that is the actual self-sacrificial love.
Uh-huh.
And that's where the love thy neighbor comes from, is when you have that, you have such protection and such a fulfilling life. And it seems like the enemies of our kind want to take that away so
Yeah.
that we feel desperate, afraid, and hopeless.
Hmm.
And that seems to be pumping out of social media 24/7, just
Yeah,
this
yeah,
hopelessness. But
yeah.
yet, it's easy to find hopelessness, and it's actually takes a little bit more brain power to look for the good. And meanwhile, there's way more good happening all the time than bad. And when you really take a look at it, we talked about 300 years ago and how great that society is, but at the same time, their average life expectancy
Uh-huh.
was about 40.
Uh-huh.
And so, boy, you got to live a quick life right there in those
Yeah.
circumstances. Today, we've doubled that mortality rate. But I think doubling it is the positive. Now we have to have meaning the whole time. And that's
Yeah.
really up to
I think
each
we're still
individual.
lacking there. Yeah,
But
yeah.
but an individual, like we still have a choice whether we get up in the morning and we have a smile on our face, our attitudes, our moods. Those are all personal choices that we make, whether we know it or not. We choose what to plug into, and it's garbage in, garbage out normally. And so, if we really want to get out of this cynicism and doldrums, just like you're doing, Barry, you plug into the things that, well, maybe not those two movies,
But it's
but you do
spurred a
plug
lot.
into these
Yeah.
positive things that
Uh,
you can think on and have hope, because there is a lot of hope out there.
well, I got to tell you something. Uh, Lisa and I have been pursuing resurrecting this old conversation that started at least 4 years ago on this podcast, but for lack of a better term, we call it the O5O community.
Well, I love
And
that.
it is trying to be, I'm pricing out land and everything. And we got
Wow.
builders that we're talking to. And
Let's go
then,
over the concept again, because it's
yeah,
fascinating for the audience.
I'll try to make it quick and simple, but this is not a retirement community. We're thinking 40 and up. We want multiple generations to cycle through this community. We don't want the villages. We want to be
No.
off of box stores. We don't want Longhorns to be a staple of this, or the big ass golf course. This is not boomer retirementville that we've known of forever. So this is anti big box stores. It's anti everything that's wrong in this country. We would like, so this is a community, think like 20 acres of some beautiful one-story houses primarily, maybe the guest room on top. I'm doing plans on housing and stuff. Some are larger than others. Some are one-bedroom apartments. And
Wow.
it's about high quality living, high quality constructive. It's about beauty. But it's about affordability and it's sustainability. It's one of the goals is to be as off the grid as possible. If we want to create the first one as a concept, a proof of concept model, and then we want to replicate a model that could go, we would hope, nationwide. And remember, we've been talking about this is an intergenerational problem that we have in America, that we got to reclaim this country and all that. We got to get off of this. Lisa hates when I say oligarchy. She says you sound like you're on MSNBC. But
That's all they say.
is that right? I
Well, I
wouldn't know.
guess. I don't know
I
either, but
wouldn't
I would
know.
imagine so.
But that's going to come up again in a few minutes. But I mean, we are bound more than ever. We're bound by tech companies,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
all big companies. I mean, you're always going to get back to the hedge funds. But if we could get as off the grid and self-sustainable as possible, the more we do that, the more power we take back to the people. And
I totally agree with you.
awareness as well. I would never want to say, okay, we are going to tell you what kind of party thinking to think, but we very much would like it to be independent thinking, and independent thinking means I should just shut up at that point and let people think for themselves. But it's not, it is about unity and not divide. Just try to save this country and try to live out the rest of our lives with purpose. Like this is very, very purposeful to us in a very cynical time. See my
Wow,
point?
I love what you're saying right there. We've got a place nearby here called Agritopia. It's a community, and in the community, you can go into the community. It's not a closed community, but it's definitely when you're the people that live there. It's such a cool looking place. They kind of stay, everything they need is there. They grow their own crops there.
See,
They
this
have
is what I'm talking about.
and then they have these restaurants there that are owned. I believe they're owned by the local people there, and then the food there is so good.
Mm.
And they've got little coffee shops. None of them are brand names. These are all like
I gotta
within.
look this up. This is what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
Agritopia is what it's
Okay.
called. It's here in Gilbert, and it's a really cool little place. And I love the farming area there. The houses are really nice, quaint.
See,
I
this
don't
is
know.
what
It's a
I'm talking
cool,
about.
cool looking
Same thing.
place.
The
Yeah,
more of us that do this, there's plenty of room for competition in this field because I hope
right.
this
That makes it better.
becomes the norm. Yeah, yeah.
Right on, right
So
on.
we get more self-sustainable, like you just said, everything right there. We were talking about, I don't think I said it today, but we were talking about integrated gardens within all over this community,
Yeah.
using them as beauty and aesthetics
Yes.
as much as utilitarian
Yeah.
food
Yeah.
gardens, you know?
Yeah, and you see the people out there, they're typically walking everywhere or riding their
Yeah,
bicycles.
yeah.
They have it really beautiful during the winter time,
We all
during Christmas and everything.
participate.
Yeah, yeah, it's really
Yeah.
cool. A
It's not
very
like,
cool
what are you going to
concept.
do today? Oh, well, I'm going to take the golf cart down to the golf course. Then we're going to Longhorn after that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then going to
happy hour. It's all
drink
about
at
happy
the
hour.
clubhouse after that. Yeah, yeah.
Right, right. So it's interesting. I think the next generation, our generation going into this is going to be more and more not the centered around happy hour. I think a lot of us
Very
got
true.
that out of our system
I think you're
back in our
absolutely right.
20s and 30s, and we realized that this actually takes away our energy, and we want to
Supposed
do
to.
things, right? Exactly. We want to live like a quality life, and the drinking thing seems to be driving you right into the cemetery.
And
So,
complacency.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So cool stuff, Barry.
Okay, dude. With that, I think we could segue right into our current events. I know that. Let's see. My notes and my poor brain not working. You know what? I just want to briefly mention because I see it here from last week's or the week before notes is about the Gen Z and the buy now pay later scam.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it has really nothing to do with where I'm truly going on other things, but we didn't, when we were talking about these other things, we never got to that. And this is, so Gen Z know, they all know the term BNPL.
right.
BNPL. It's buy now, pay later. It's a different kind of credit card. They're not even bound by banking rules because they're technically not a bank or whatever, but it's still high interest loans. And people, Gen Z, a lot of them. Now, this is one thing, this is another bone I got to pick with the PBD show, the Patrick Bet David show, as much as I love that show. They do cater to a more affluent audience and try to
Right.
keep them appeased and happy. And they talk about the Gen Z buying Botox on buy now, pay later scams. And it's like, I know you could find someone out there like that, but Charlie Kirk could tell you most of Gen Z have to pay for necessities on buy now, pay later scams.
Yes, exactly.
That's where the problem is.
It's
Big problem.
huge. It's huge. And the whole thing is that when we're doing that, it's ruining their lives. This is what's happening
For
here is that
sure.
it's putting these people into
Debt.
such a debt situation that they'll never be able to get out of. We've got this problem where this generation was never taught how to balance their checkbooks or anything like that. So, and look at the examples all around Gen Z. Most of them, like Charlie Kirk, remember 2008 and the big housing crash very well. And that was a mega example of buy now, pay later.
Oh, yeah.
And so really their whole life they've been socialized into buy now, pay later, that everybody does it. And this is exactly the situation that has landed Gen Z in a situation where they can't buy a house because they're too much in debt and the house is too expensive. It's seven
Sure.
times their income. They've got such a problem. No wonder we see these suicide rates uh, skyrocketing. It's because of the hopeless situation these people are facing. Not to mention, you see in social media, oh, well, global climate change, we're not going to be here anyway in 7 years. So, I
Ah,
mean, what a
that's funny.
nihilistic way to look at life.
Well, I mean, the climate change thing. I mean, it's been that kind of thing has been used since the 90s for 30 years. They keep kicking that can down the road. In 10 years, we're not going to be around. And I mean, go to AOC. I mean, the left just loves AOC. If you go from her predictions with her Green New Deal, which I always see it, the cover of it written with crayon, drawn with crayon. I do. I
Yeah,
swear to
yeah,
God. Every
that's a
time I
good one. I
say
like that.
Green New Deal, I see the scribble of green tree, and uh, but that we should have something like 7 or 8 years left, literally till the planet perishes. But she keeps kicking that can down the road too. So I don't know what else to say about that. I go back to what's his name? His name usually is on the tip of my tongue, to be honest, but I have cold medicine and everything else in me right now. But he talked a lot about. I listened to several podcasts with Bjorn Lomborg,
Oh,
and
yeah. No,
he did all the research and endless research and wrote some books on this climate change thing and said that I'll screw up the quote, but it'll take 100 years for us to raise like 3 degrees Celsius, Fahrenheit in this society, which will have some drastic effects. And it might have been seven, I don't know. But he just made it clear how we're being taken for a ride in so many different ways. Germany, that's the one example always comes right to my mind. They go and decommission out of this kind of progressive, I hate that term because it's regressive, but these progressive policies, they decommission the most efficiently run nuclear power plant in the country. Now, what are people doing? They're burning more coal and wood and things like that and killing the environment 10 times as fast.
yeah, Bjorn, what is his last name
Bjorn
again?
Lomberg.
Yeah,
Lomberg.
good job remembering that name. I gotta say, that's a Bjorn Longbird. That's that Longbird. I can't even remember it, and you just said it.
Oh,
So I think you're
fascinating.
doing pretty good with the cold medicine.
Yeah, maybe it is the cold medicine, but fascinating stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, and he's the one that's really exposed all of this crazy green energy
oh, yeah.
scam that's
Uh-huh.
happening. I love that there are guys out there that are just truth tellers. But I would imagine his life is probably very difficult having to deal with these people that are believers because it is a multi-trillion dollar industry. And people, when the money gets messed with, people tend to get evil. So I
You
bet you
know,
that guy has some serious security.
I think I was kind of thinking the same thing as you were talking about him. I also, God, I tend to think that we have other sources of energy that are more sustainable that would take us out of my beliefs,
I'm sure of it. I am
take us out of this
absolutely sure.
scarcity driven economy where we're all poor. And you know what it makes me think about to go to the extreme on this is here's another name for you, Yumney Park,
Oh
who
yeah.
fled North Korea and came here and told us all about how we're turning into North Korea. But when she was there, they kept everybody starving, literally
Right.
starving, because then you can think about nothing. But what are you going to eat next?
That's all you can think about. And you're singularly
They're
focused and you're
doing that
not
to
gonna
us.
team up with other people against the government. You need some Cheerios or something. I mean, my goodness.
I feel like we're kind of going down that same road, keeping us distracted with everything under the sun and mostly scarcity. We have, there's plenty of food, energy, and everything that we need in this country if it wasn't all being siphoned out of this country, out of our
Yeah.
hands.
That is exactly what's going on. You talk about distractions, and you were going to bring up what's happening in Washington, D.C. Yeah, I know you got a take on this. I'm trying to figure out because is this a distraction or not? It seems like almost everything that's happening right
Uh,
now is a distraction, but suddenly, the federal government or the Trump administration calls out the National Guard and takes over the the policing of Washington, D.C. I think they have 30 days to do this, to tamp down on the crime that's happening over there. And apparently, there's a disagreement on whether there's a lot of crime happening in Washington,
Right.
D.C. or not. Uh, that's what I know.
Yeah.
I know that in my lifetime, though, Washington, D.C. has never had a good reputation as far as crime goes. I mean,
Exactly.
so this has always been the swamp. Uh, this has always been a place that at night you've got to be careful. So I've never heard any different. Have you, Barry?
I, you know what, dude? I cannot bring myself to read these articles, so I just hear the overviews on podcasts and things like that. I read the headlines, and I piece my opinions from there. I can't bring myself to read the articles because I know it's distraction.
Yeah.
That's 100. And so why am I going to do that? And even when I'm listening to some of these podcasts that they go on for too long on this, I'll just fast forward through them. But you're exactly right that the big debate is, well, they have charts, they have stats that say violent crime dropped by 35% in 2024. Homicides are down by 32%. Carjackings down by 53%. Assaults with weapons down by 27%. That's according to the official Metropolitan Police and Justice Department data. The first half of 2025 also saw continued decline, with homicides 19% lower than the same period last year. And that's from Fox News, The Sun, Wikipedia, and Department of Justice, corroborated by those. But the public perception is it doesn't feel safe. This is where things get squirrely. You've probably heard Joe Scarborough. He's being quoted everywhere because the guy on the left is even saying, I don't care what I hear, it doesn't feel safe there.
Mm.
Now, Scarborough's sticking up for Trump?
That's weird.
It is. I have a theory. Just
What's
my
your
theory.
theory? I like this. Go ahead.
Dude, we know Scarborough. We know one thing about Scarborough is he's going to toe the line for do what he's told no matter what. He's the same guy that got on his morning show and said, you could go F yourselves if you don't believe Joe Biden is the best Joe Biden he's ever been. And 9 days later, he went up and did a Weekend at Bernie's act. So, we know Scarborough is he's
He's a
paid,
liar.
he's bought. Yeah. I mean, nobody trusts him anymore. So my
No, they
opinion
shouldn't.
is
Yeah.
this is dude, this is just telling you, this is this party thing that people are always worrying over is the big distraction. There are no real parties when it comes down to the orders being given, like, hey, this Washington, D.C. thing, we need to create the biggest dust storm here that you can ever imagine. So if Scarborough even goes on this side, that will be like, whoa.
And yet you've got all of these people like Schumer I saw yesterday that was like, because Congress has to vote to extend this past 30 days, and they're asking if he would vote to extend it. He actually said, used the F word when he was saying no. So
Oh,
yeah, this
Schumer's, okay.
but you can see this is like that would be a great play. Hey, have Scarborough say this, have Schumer
Uh-huh.
say this, have
Uh-huh.
Trump say this,
Uh-huh.
and but at the same time, here's something interesting that I just learned this morning. There's an article out here that says DC officials have been fudging the numbers to make crime rates appear lower. Could this be more of a distraction? The
Yeah, yeah, I
District
heard
of
that too.
Columbia. Yeah, they've quietly settled a lawsuit from a sergeant who accused the Metropolitan Police Department leaders of misclassifying offenses to deflate the district's crime statistics. Court records obtained by the Washington Free Beacon show the police brass reportedly told officers to downgrade theft cases, knife attacks, and violent assaults to lesser offenses, according to according to the whistleblower. And but they got more than one whistleblower that's saying the exact same thing here. So we've got this woke situation. We know Muriel Bowser, the mayor of that town, and she had the whole Black Lives Matter thing going on there, and the whole 9/11, or not 9/11, but January 16th. I get the dates mixed up. January 6th, and how they've also the illegal immigration thing. It's a sanctuary city in Washington D.C. Pretty crazy. So we got to say there is a reason they call D.C. a swamp. And I don't think it's just because of the politicians. They bring that kind of politics in. And Washington, the District of Columbia doesn't run like other cities do. It is run by the federal government and also the district government. They both have say in this. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I do believe that you might be right. This could be a big
Yeah, and I
distraction.
never even said it. It's a cover up for the Epstein Files
You did
debacle.
say that at the
Did I say Epstein
beginning.
Files?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't.
At the very
Okay, I
beginning
thought I
of
heard.
the podcast, you
Okay.
said that you thought this. So how do you so you know, I think you might be right
I
about
think
the,
so. Here's
even
another telltale thing, Merle. As weird as this is, so I like to put comments on the Daily Mail because of the one of the few places where you can actually comment on news. Like you can on a couple very left-leaning places, and they're only like the Huffington Post, and it's just really silly stuff. On the Daily Mail, almost anything goes, but you can't type any version of Epstein Files. You can abbreviate it, you can whatever, man. That's going to get censored every time. You cannot talk about the Epstein Files in the comments.
Daily Mail, is that's an English UK,
It's
isn't it?
based out of UK, but it the news is predominantly American because they're obsessed with American celebrities. And by the way, it has gotten so much away from news. When you click on the news tab, it's still all Lizzo and Elizabeth Hurley and Britney Spears and J Lo
Oh,
and
great.
yeah, I have blocks set up in an app that I have to block the Kardashians. All it's called the Kardashian filter, by the way. You can download that app
That's funny.
and you can add
Um,
others to it.
I kind of have a theory that's starting to formulate here about Epstein and involvement with international banking, and of course, he was one of those guys, right? He was into that business, and the international banking headquarters is in London, and so I think it's interesting that they probably have control over what's in the Daily Mail. I don't know.
Dude,
It's an interesting thing.
no one can do anything but speculate very weakly where Jeffrey Epstein got his hundreds of millions of dollars. He bought an island. He's got a private jet. The guy from Victoria's Secret gave him his mansion. What? And no
Yeah.
one can do anything but speculate. The best we can do is say, well, he blackmailed everybody. But I bet if we knew the truth, because I think you're hitting on it right there, and how sordid these deals were with the banks, international banking, and blackmail and pedophilia and all that, I don't think we'd ever believe the real truth.
No, I think it's so black and so
Yeah, yeah,
ugly,
yeah.
so dark that if we even knew what the truth was, it'd probably make us very sick, literally.
Yeah,
I think it's at the very depths of evil here.
I do
And
too.
hey, I wanted to talk since we're talking a little bit about international banking, and typically I cast a dark shadow on banking because of everything that I've learned. But there was a Tucker Carlson podcast that came out last week with and I really think this is a good one. I want to recommend it to you, and I'm just going to give you a brief thumbnail of it. It's Tucker Carlson with Richard A. Werner, spelled with a W because he's German. This aired on July 28th this year. And let me just give you a thumbnail of what it is. This interview is with economist Richard Werner. He tells Tucker that banks don't just lend, they create money when they issue loans, a power omitted from the standard economic models. This oversight, he argues, leads to bad forecasting and flawed policies. Werner traces his revelation back to his experience in Japan in 1991 and his research in prince of the yen, which caught intelligence agency attention. He also weaves in financial history, the like the gold leaf from France in the 1960s, and emphasizes that small local banks lending to real businesses could be the key to stable, non-inflationary growth. That's the good news
I
on
like
this.
hearing that.
This is actually pretty cool because I'm always harping on our debt-based monetary system.
Uh-huh.
But when you listen to this, and I'm not going to go into the whole explanation, I want you to listen to this because and you got to listen to the whole thing. Because if you only listen to part of it, you're going to feel bummed out. But listen to the whole thing. He's making a distinction between the central bank, the Federal Reserve, and the commercial banks. And typically, I was under the impression that the more banks around, the more that's probably not good. But what he's saying is this is the more banks, the better, but it's the type of loans that they're making. He makes a distinction between three different loans. One is asset, another one is consumption, consumer loans, and the last one is small business loans. He's saying that the first two, asset and consumer, always leads to inflation. We've seen that. We saw where they printed a bunch of money, they gave it out to people, they bought all kinds of stuff. It screwed up the supply chain, it made everything more expensive. Assets and consumer loans cause inflation. But when small businesses get loans from commercial banks, yes, they create money out of that, but that money actually leads to growth, healthy growth. And the more of that we can do, and really kind of curtailing as much as we can on the first two kinds of loans, this actually spurs growth and causes a healthy
You
economy.
know what, dude? I never heard of that before, but as I listen to it, I can say it simply. Those first two loans are about so you can consume more. The last loan is about so you can produce more.
That's exactly it. It's so simple
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
it almost seems like crazy. But here's the thing, the craziest thing that he goes over is that economics students, economy students, and macroeconomics, they never learn about these secret banking methods, so that it never factors into the formulas that these economists learn. Well, this is where actual most of the money is created in our society. Not necessarily from the central bank. It's created through an alchemy kind of a process
Yeah.
when you get a loan. It's just electronic money. But that could be a bad thing or a good thing. It depends on where we funnel that into new growing businesses. That's where the bulk of people are employed here in the United States, small business still. And small banks cater to small businesses. The more these banks are eliminated, we lost like 10,000 of them. The more that they're eliminated, the less chance the people have a chance, the middle class has a chance to free themselves through their own businesses. And these small businesses, a $500,000 loan can employ five, maybe four, three or four people. You can't do that in large business. And so this is really the leverage that gives America its strength. It's good news, and it's also an eye opener. Check it out. It's on Tucker Carlson. I think you'll enjoy it. The guy has a very easy way of explaining this so that we understand it. It's something we all need to know.
I will definitely check that out. I got to tell you, you sent it to me like a day or so ago.
Yeah, you didn't have a chance to listen to it.
I didn't, but I was also like, oh, that sounds so boring.
It
Um,
does, but it's super exciting actually. When you start listening to how he tells the story, you'll get excited, you'll get mad, you'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I never knew that." And when some of it has to do with our own American history, his interaction with Ben Bernanke, and some of the tricks that he uncovered that are being played on us. It's fascinating stuff. You got to hear this.
well, I will. And I was relying on you to relay the information and simplify it for us. But I will, and I agree with you that we need to get educated on this as much as we can so that our voices, we know what to put in our voices to be heard. But I'll also say, I back up what you say, like even just hearing you say that, I get very, very frustrated. It's like if we all know, if it's that easy, Why are we not doing it the right way rather than the wrong way at a
Well, here's
worldwide scale, no less?
okay. So this is what's interesting is that these a lot of these banking problems could be solved very simply. The banking crisis that we saw back in 2008, it turned out that the American taxpayers had to shoulder that burden. Richard Werner points out that there was another way to solve this. He's got a term for this, something like economic easing or something like that. That the central bank could have taken all of those derivatives and paid it out electronically themselves. It was a problem they created through electronic money, and it's a problem they could have solved by writing it off electronically, something that would not be tantamount to printing money, wouldn't be inflationary. They could have done this. They print money all the time. They could have done this, but instead they put it on the American taxpayer, which caused our wealth to ebb into their pockets, causing huge inflation, causing the situation for Gen Z right now. In other words, it was done on purpose.
Yeah, yeah, I got you. I got you. I'm gonna have to get going here, Merle. I do just want to put this in your ear. Did you actually listen to the Rogan episode with Paulina Luna?
I listened to clips of what she had to say, and I did a little bit of research on the things that she was saying as well.
I thought the most interesting stuff was stuff that I could not find via chat. I actually had to
Interesting.
listen to. Yeah, yeah, man, because like I said, I want to put this in your ear and maybe it's good fodder for a future podcast because I have questions. Now she
I
is,
figured you would.
yeah, well, I got biblical questions.
Oh,
Interesting stuff. So she is part of the UAP uncovering. I don't know how you call it,
yes.
but
Yeah,
the Disclosure Act, and she's very passionate about that. She's ex-military. This lady is really, really sharp. She is
she
very
is.
intelligent, and
Yes.
she does her homework, and she dots her I's, crosses her T's. So she talked about the calls for transparency and how all these people are calling these aliens, whatever you want to call them, interdimensional beings.
Correct.
And she made mention that there's some people seem to say that they exist outside time and space.
Correct.
Geez, dude, that's already starting to sound very religious to me right there. And fascinating. She talks about both of them talked quite a bit about the Book of Enoch and the Christian
Yes.
paradox that the Book of Enoch was taken out of the Bible, and she says it's a wild ride. Book of Enoch is a crazy ride. She read it a few times. And that's where I think I want to just put this in your head for a future podcast. They also talked about, is it the book of Isaiah? Maybe was also taken out of the Bible. I could be wrong about that one, but those were the main things that I thought were very fascinating. Chat did not give me good notes. Like it
I'm not
could
surprised
not
by that.
access
Yeah.
the transcript. But when I was listening to the interview, it's like, I got to remember that. I got to remember this. There was a lot of, like, she's 100% believes in, she has seen things that were not made by human beings. She
That's right.
says that verbatim, and she can clarify that with her Christianity. What's the word? It's not the right word, but she can reconcile that with her Christianity. Now, Joe interestingly said, what if you find out, as one of the theories go, that they actually created us? How are you going to reconcile that with your Christianity? And she goes, well, I'm not sure if I'd believe it. But he said, what if we found out definitive proof? And she's like, well, it is said that we are not God's first creation. We were just his favorite. And so all of these things were very, very interesting.
Yes.
And I like the Christian conversation to be had, but I don't have time for it. But if you have parting words on that. That'd be
Well,
cool.
I would just say that I've been talking about this for quite some time when it comes to these so-called alien sightings, that what I have seen so far has reminded me that these appear to be demonic sightings, especially when you take a look at CERN and the God particle they're trying to do, and some of the information that's coming out about portals and being outside of time. The Bible makes it clear that God lives outside of time. He lives in a different dimension, that he and the angels and demons are just fallen angels, can traverse between those two dimensions, and they can communicate directly with us, and they can appear physically in many different forms. And so none of this surprises me. She talks about technology that we don't have any science for. That totally makes sense to me, because in the Bible, as you know, there are things that happen that require technology for it to happen. So, coming from a technology coming from a different dimension uh, does not violate anything that's in the Bible. Finally, I'll just say this, that in the Bible, it makes it clear that demons not only can manifest, but they can be very alluring to people, very attractive to people. In fact, that demons and people have created offspring called the Nephilim. It's in the
Huh.
Bible. This sounds like what she's talking about, and I would say that we are we're coming into a time of revelation. That's what's really happening right now. And I would say keep your eyes open. There's going to be a lot of information around this that's going to be very deceptive. So,
Yeah, yeah,
keep your head about you.
yeah.
Uh, Look out for the tricks, because they're coming.
Oh, tons of them. And I hear about, because I follow this stuff quite a bit. I hear about that talked about a lot. In fact, Joe said on the podcast, on that podcast, that he's like, well, if it were me wanting to do a disinformation campaign, I would just give all this stuff to the nuttiest guy on the internet. And
That's a great idea.
and then along with a whole bunch of other stuff. And
I think
every
that's what they do. I mean, I really
exactly.
think, and
Of
when
course.
we were just talking about Project Mockingbird, which is a CIA project where they got involved in our movies and everything, and now all these things that have happened in the movies are happening in real life. And if we talk about them, people will say, "Oh, you probably watched that movie, huh?"
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like the
right.
movie gaslights you like
Uh-huh.
20 years ago.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy, but we're seeing it happen right now.
Yeah, yeah. With that, man, I think we have a lot more good conversation to be
I
had
do
about
too.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Let's
inter
pick it up next
you
time.
know what it also reminds me of is we talked about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, about, I think his name was Matt Brown. He was on the Weaponized podcast. There was a 3-part
Oh
episode.
yeah, yeah.
He
Yep.
ended it with saying, look, he's like, there's only so much he's allowed to say, bound by congressional uh, uh,
Both. Yeah.
oath. And he said, look, we live in a dream. We're only given so much science that that we can't really do
Yep.
anything with,
Yep.
and God is real.
He
Uh,
did. Yep.
that's what, and I think there was one more thing, but
We live in a dream. That reminded me of the Matrix.
oh, dude, I pretty much believe we live in a simulation most of the time. But catch me on a different day, and I'll say something else because I'm always trying to figure it out, and I know all of these things are pieces that are almost coming together. All of
It's
these
like,
things, Christianity with this alien conversation that we're having, all these
yeah.
things, it's almost coming together.
You remember that movie, The Truman Show?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, where
I
it's
think
like,
that's my
he's
life.
looking at the beautiful moon over the water and everything, and it turns out that the moon actually was the surveillance place
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
were watching everything from the
I gotta
moon.
watch that show again. That was so
But
good.
everything was just like the guy
The
was
Wizard of
living in a
Oz.
reality show, but
Uh
he
huh.
didn't know that he was in a reality
I always
show.
felt like that.
I
Always felt like
remember
that.
when I used to watch Candid Camera when I was a
Yeah.
kid, and I
Yeah.
used to be so paranoid that am I on Candid Camera? I'd be
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
around, But is that our lives? I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of funny to think about.
Well, God, I gotta go. But there's several leading theories about, well, what are we to aliens? Why wouldn't they just come down and take us over? Well, we're an ant. I mean, one is like we're like an ant farm. They just observe us. They don't. They watch us in our natural environment. They don't want to disturb us. It's like we do with monkeys.
It's just like Star Trek. What was it? It was the primary,
Oh, the prime
the
directive.
the prime directive
Uh-huh.
was
Uh-huh.
not to mess around with the
Let
society,
them
and then in
develop naturally.
every episode they mess around with the society, and also
Yeah.
we're not warlike. In every episode they get into a war.
That's
It's
so true.
hilarious.
That's so true. There's another theory about we're there. So that's the zoo theory that where they observe us. Then
Yeah.
there's another one that they're harvesting us, and
Um,
I think that goes back to Bob Lazar, that far back,
I
that they're
think
harvesting our souls.
Well, I think
Or
there's
something.
truth there, and you take a look at what does Satan want, and there seems to be
Oh,
he wants our souls, right? And also,
ah,
you've heard of adrenochrome before, right? Um,
no,
no, you haven't. Well, we'll
no.
have to save that for another show,
Ah,
but has to do with the blood of young people that is needed to cause other people to look young, and it's a big
wow.
business. We'll talk about it on another episode.
Wow, I can't wait. All right, with that, hey, Mark's AI tip is coming up.
Cool.
Catch us at Little Italy. Hey, check out littleitalyfeast.com. That's my website for the feast that is going on right
Oh,
now.
cool.
It has gone through the roof. It gets like 50,000 hits over the weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, and I put up a poll and all that. It's gotten so much interaction. It is the site. It's fun. It's fun. So I had that on my brain. But actually go to over50startingover.com. Our latest video will be right there, and you can comment and everything, and sign up, and you'll get this to your email box as it happens. All right, Merle, have a great weekend, dude.
Yeah, you
Fun
too, Barry.
podcast.
Well, hello there, over 50 starting over friends. Mark Tennant back with you with your AI tip of the week. This week, something we can all relate to. Bye-bye to bureaucratic headaches. Hello to your own fill-in-the-blank expert. Well, we all know AI, it's many things. But you know what it's really good at? It's really good at stepping in and helping with those bureaucratic nightmares. So a real good friend of mine just went through this experience at, you guessed it, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles here in the state of Ohio. And I can tell you that this BMV, DMV, whatever acronym you want to use, this nightmare, it's real. Trust me. You drive to the BMV, you wait in line, and what seems like forever, you finally get to the front of the line, and the person then tells you behind the counter, you're missing some form that nobody told you about. It wasn't on the website. You had no clear instructions. Wah, wah, wah. So I recently refinanced my car to get a better interest rate, which I did. And then the bank tells me after it's all said and done, hey, wait, you have to do all the legwork. You have to do the title work, the title transfer, all of that. I guess just part of the fine print. So I thought, oh gosh, another bureaucratic nightmare I'm going to have to deal with. But then I thought, hey, I got AI, right? AI can help me. So what I did, I uploaded all of the documents, everything I had, the to-dos, everything, and I prompted the AI something like this. Act as a State of Ohio DMV Senior Customer Specialist. People love you. Flattery doesn't hurt here. I then explained my situation, and I never did this before. I had no idea where to go, what to do, and the results were boom. Just amazing. I couldn't believe it. So everything right there, the bank's final disclosure form, previous lender instructions and what to get, state of Ohio forms to download. I didn't know this. There was actually 2 I had to download. What the fee was, step-by-step instructions, county-specific instructions even. It even gave the street address and everything at my county seat where I needed to go. Exact locations, required documents needed, and a summary, and fee calculations as well. And it worked. I was just relieved. I walked out of there. This is me walking out of the BMB. Just couldn't believe how easy that was and how easy AI made it for me. You can do this too for many different things. You can do it for passport renewals, business licenses, tax questions, insurance claims, and even Social Security issues. I've done this quite a bit and used AI for Social Security a lot. So in your prompt, Don't forget to be specific as you can about your situation. Have it act as, remember to play that role, that expert role. Include your state and county details and ask for state step-by-step instructions when you do it. That's it. All you have to do, and say bye-bye to your bureaucratic nightmare. To wrap up, remember, be specific, include your county and state, all of the information that you can in your prompt. Really important. Act as that expert role. You have to add that. Ask for step-by-step instructions, and then you'll get details, forms, fees, and everything that you need to avert a bureaucratic nightmare. So it's your turn. Remember, you have that AI assistant, that bureaucratic nightmare you can say goodbye to at your fingertips 24/7, 365. So the next time you're facing one of these, use the AI, tell it what to do. Remember, exact role, all of that. And I want to hear about your exact nightmare and your bureaucratic nightmare. Email me, mark@marktenet.net. I would love to hear from you. And on the socials, I'm on LinkedIn at Mark E. Tenet. Till next time, keep using AI. Take care.